Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Spark of Genius spoiler production here. Obviously, a very special video. We have the card on the left, we have Rob on the right, and we have the wonderful Kiki right in the middle, shining down upon us, as you can see. Top two, I'd say top two, second place at the Calling in New Zealand. That was back when Monarch Limited, all that fun stuff that we didn't get to enjoy out here. But Kiki enjoyed very well, obviously. Winner of an Armory, manager of the Cerberus Games in New Zealand. Prolific Dash player from kind of the very beginning. By beginning, I mean like beginning because New Zealand, right? Like beginning. Not like American Canadian beginning, but
right.
So we
very different things.
Kiki is very nice to have you and bring your perspectives of this very interesting mechanology. I was about to say dash card. I was saying mechanologist. I've been
mechanologist card.
I've been corrected. So
how about we start by introducing the card? Want to read it out?
Well, I think Kiki should read it out. I think guest of honor.
All right.
I have the honor.
Okay, thanks for having me. And today we have the Plasma Mainline. So this is a 2-cost item that pitches for 1. It comes in with 5 steam counters, and whenever an item with 2 or less cost enters the arena, it gains a steam, or moves a steam counter rather from the Plasma Mainline onto that new item. So it's a very exciting kind of item. The first thing you'll probably want to think about is items that can't load themselves. Yeah, and there's obviously some very powerful items that do that, like Teklo Core being probably the main one, but then we also have other things like the Convection Amplifier if you're going to be more aggressive with Dominate attacks, and perhaps even things like, I don't know, maybe a Hyperdriver or the defensive items from Crucible of War even. Everfest rather. With the Disillusion Sphere and the Signal Jammer both. If you can get like an extra turn off, that could be very important to like kind of control the game and keep yourself alive as you probably play more items with this card, I'd imagine.
Yeah, an extra turn on those
agree.
More defensive cards seems like a big deal actually, because they only come out maximum 1 turn, and now, or I guess 2 turns with
two turns.
Two turns. So an extra turn could mean a lot actually to regain tempo, stay alive. Really good.
Yeah. So like initially, we'll start with Dashko Data Doll very briefly here, kind of the synergies that are the most obvious here. So Teklo Core, as Kiki mentions, it's a 1 for 2 off the bat, right? The minute Teklo Core comes in with another counter, it's 2 resources for free. Especially on the more mid-rangey control, maybe not as much. I don't know if you really want this as much as a boost, like a more aggro heavy deck, but especially in a more like slower game plan, very, very good card in extracting maximum value out of your cards, which is what Dash is about, right? So it really brings her to that like next level, especially with Core. I think off like the normal items like Induction and Purifier. I think having an extra counter is fine. I don't think it's like game breaking. I don't know if you want to run like a red 2 cost just to get that and then not run like more efficiency off that. I think the interesting synergy is with Pour the Mold, as I kind of mentioned earlier. So especially Pour the Mold red, it has Go Again. It allows you to put like mainline automatically and not lose your action, because obviously there's no Go Again on Plasma Mainline, as there usually isn't on any of the items, right? So you're able to like put in the main line and then put in an item right after, so you get that initial steam counter right away, which is quite nice, as well as synergizes pretty well with Spark of Genius, which is probably why Chris Bewley gave us the card, but because you're able to use your Achilles on that same turn, right? Like you can boost the card, spark out your plasma, and then if you want, you can Achilles, get that second action point. You're drawing the card off the boost from Spark of Genius, and then you could grab another item in Arth. Like it's a very wide kind of good setup turn, especially if you could do something like that, like turn 0, or if you could afford it. Not bad. Really good setup, right? So like Pour the Mold Reds, really good. Pour the Mold Blues might be okay. I think those are and then as was mentioned, I think the Dissolution Sphere and the Signal Jammer, when they're good, they're really good. I remember back when it came out against Viscerai was a terror, and then you just ran Dissolution Sphere.
You just always sided this into a Viscerai.
Yeah, because it was good luck OTK. You just can't, like, your Uruchians don't do anything.
Yeah, that's right.
Like it's very it's a very good tool. So if that comes back,
and I think at the minimum this card does present it costs 2 and it gives you 5 resources over its course, right? So it is inherently a value card, right? That at its minimum, I think, is quite decent. You might want to play it, even if you play it maybe on the induction chambers and maybe on the purifiers. It's still 5 value over time. So yet to be seen if that's a thing, but I think at a minimum, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I want to see Teklo Vosson's workshop with this card.
Oh, that's a card we haven't seen
and put it into play
ever, I think.
Reveal it.
I have
a mech item with 2 or less. Put into the arena.
That's very interesting. I can't imagine seeing this in the current dash control builds, like pistol dash builds, as is built right now. I don't think they're item heavy enough, and I think having an increase of items would kind of make that deck struggle in terms of like the actual blocking side of things.
Yeah.
I can imagine a world see a different sort of item build. Probably still using the pistol, but being defensive in more ways by playing things like the Crucible defense
absorption dome. Yeah.
Things like that, and if you can get more counters in your absorption dome, the one from Arcane Rising, the yellow one. These are all items I haven't played.
I totally forgot what that was called.
Dissipation shield.
Dissipation shield. Shield.
So if you have these more like defensive items, then I can see a world where this maybe comes in, and then you can kind of use this to get your resources, and use those items to block as you have a whole bunch of items that wouldn't block normally. This does have a bit of an anti-synergy with Signal Jammer, as Signal Jammer is symmetrical, so it affects both players. So you won't be able to pop up with multiple non-attack turns. Therefore, you can't really pop up with multiple non-items if you have the Signal Jammer play. But hopefully it hinders your opponent more than it hinders you.
100%.
That's true. What about Data Doll? Very briefly here. Everyone's like, oh, there might be a new deck here. There probably should be. There's only the 2 right now, right?
Yeah.
There should be 3 by now. But Data Doll seems like she's liking this item quite a bit. You banish this off the top.
If you can get it for free, a lot of items. It's quite good. It's like a lot better if you get this for free.
Everything's a lot better if you get it for free in Data Doll. But I really love this in Data Doll. Now, she already has a lot of items, so she's going to be more likely to be able to use all 5 counters, especially in Blitz compared to Dash. She's going to be able to get more items to play, and you can feasibly use this up in 2 turns as Data Doll, which would be like very good. You get to get your advantage faster, and she relies a lot more on her items. Like I said, she has a 3-card hand, so even putting a counter on Purifier is a lot more impactful for Data Doll as compared to Dash, who has extra card to pay his resources. So I'm pretty excited for this in Data Doll. I'm sure my friend Reese will also be very excited for this in Data Doll.
Beta Doll S tier now?
Yeah.
Confirmed?
Beta Doll S tier confirmed.
Let's not go that far? Okay.
I'm not willing to commit to that just yet.
We'll see.
3 intellect is still pretty bad.
Yeah, like, what if you draw this card on 2 reds? You just, the entire turn is play Mainline.
Pitch those 2 reds and play it. That's all you do.
You take, 15 damage to do that, though, when this card doesn't block.
Yeah. You gotta get it off the top.
That's a little bit awkward. Okay, so that was a pretty good rundown. For everyone who's watching, we're recording this on October 25th, so we don't know if there's any on the mech spoilers that come out. There's a bunch of them that are coming out on the 31st and the 1st. We don't have any knowledge of those, so if those they might make or break this item, I apologize. We'll review those later in our full review of all the spoilers after. But for now, Kiki, appreciate your time, and Rob, always appreciate your time. Not always, but mostly always. And with that, appreciate everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this spoiler. For wherever you're watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.